Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Welcome to the Jerkmonger Show, everybody. Good morning. This is your host, the Jerkmonger, Elliot Fernandez, coming at you live from Jerkmonger Studios here in Tampa, Florida. Welcome to the Jerkmonger Show, everybody. Just making sure I can hear myself there, guys. Make sure you guys can hear me. Ultra excited this morning. I have my avatar up. I'm actually going to be working on a sketch while I talk. So I hope you guys don't mind. Hopefully, as you guys come in, if you want to listen, if you want to suggest stuff, you want to go into my chat, I welcome all of you. There's a couple of things I want to talk about today. As in my morning muse, my morning muses is like just an opportunity for me to kind of talk about anything. It's mostly about encouraging and promoting positive environments for us to work in and enjoy. And I really am excited that most of you guys are always on board with me. Well, this morning, let me turn on my camera. This morning, I just want to address not a very specific. I'm not going to get into any specifics because I don't think that that's necessary. In fact, I think that's counterproductive. Because I don't think it's the problem is isolated to one event. I think this is a general problem I think we have. And the way that we use it's one of the dangers of social media, frankly. It's one of the challenges that we have as a culture, and how we've adopted certain practices, and we've allowed certain ways of talk in our lives. I think it's hurting us. And I want to discuss that kind of toxicity as it relates to what we say here on YouTube and our chats. I want to talk about how we use platforms like Twitter, and just in general, just share my heart with you guys, because I am a Christian, but I'm not like a lot of people perhaps believe I would be. I probably disappoint some of my Christian friends by some of the ways that I talk about stuff. And the reason why is because I've come to a place in my own life where I need to be authentic and real about how I think of anything. That usually means then that I have to also engage situations and problems, circumstances that, that I have to talk about, right? So something came up in the group that I hang out with sometimes. One of someone I know that is generally a good person, went on an offensive rant and has been taking some things perhaps too seriously. And Austin says, looks awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, man. So where am I going with this? In general, I'm just going to say this. We need to chill out. We all need to chill out. I think we've taken some things so far that we're doing damage to any positive direction we want to take anything in. One of the reasons why I stayed away from Twitter for so long was because there's so much anger and vitriol. And I don't think that's helping any cause. I don't think that that's helping people resolve their issues. We need to learn. We're falling into the trap that I always talk to my son about. Hey, John, how are you this morning? And again, guys, understand where I'm coming from. I never would tell you that I was perfect or that I've accomplished anything or I've arrived at anywhere, because I haven't. I have all the same, I fall for the same traps that anybody else can. Sometimes when in the old days, maybe 10 years ago, I would have been fighting all kinds of political fights and arguments. And I just got to say, it's just not good for you. And trust me, I've literally been physically affected by stress in ways that you guys don't need that in your life. And so I want to say, for the record, and I hope everybody who is listening now, or anyone that will listen to this, I feel like I'm talking into a post-apocalypse thing. If anybody can hear me on this frequency, I am not down with you if you're about using bully tactics. I'm not down with you if you're about using trying to overpower people in talk. If you can't have a general uh, conversation, if we can't dialogue like human beings, like adults, then don't bring it to me. I'm just going to tell you right now. Don't bring it to me. Don't bring it into my house. Don't bring it into my onto my doorstep. I'm not going to accept you. I'm not going to let you in. And what I mean by that is I am going to start regulating. I'm going to ask some of my moderators. Right now I only have one or two, but if you are a moderator and you are part of my family, because I consider some of these people family now, and I'm very protective of my family, and I care about my family, and I care about what happens to them, and I care about everyone in my family, even the ones sometimes that may disappoint me, because I'm sure I'll disappoint them at some point. But as of right now, I have to just make this statement and just come clean with you guys. I don't want it no more, man. I don't want no more of this nonsense. There's no reason why we need to be fighting like this. There's no reason. Listen, the whole argument we've been perpetuating here from the perspective of the Comicscape movement is that everyone's attacking us for no reason. Then I'm going to say to people in Comicsgate, I'm going to say to anyone, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. We don't need to talk like that at all. And no one's listening when you talk like that. No one's listening. No one cares about how much you know until they know how much you care. It's an old thing I heard a long time ago, and it stayed with me. And so if we can't engage now, if you've been attacked, Critias, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Welcome to the morning Muse, man. Listen, my position is this: if you've been attacked by somebody in social media, then by all means, you got to defend yourself. But defend yourself with facts, defend yourself with heart, with honesty, and with kindness. Trust me, it will work. If it doesn't work now, it'll work over time. But that's not how we don't win by pushing people against fences. And I mean, when I was a kid, I was bullied too. I get it. I get it. And I know what it feels like. And it don't feel right. You know? And we hurt our arguments, we hurt our cause when we don't act right. And I'm just telling you, I'm just saying, anybody's listening, I'm not down with that.
Right. I agree with the same thing, you know. I just don't like excuse me, I don't like seeing infighting, you know. It doesn't make sense when we're supposed to be moving this community forward.
Absolutely.
You know, with this fighting, we're just moving backwards, and our enemies see that and they will use it against us and try to destroy us with it. You know, what it does is it scares other people away from the movement, and we can't have that because then we start dwindling in numbers and then we go nowhere.
You know, I don't even like calling them enemies, man, because you know what? We've identified on multiple occasions how many times some of those people just don't know.
Right, you're right.
You know, if an enemy is, well, there are some enemies. Let me rephrase that, because that's not fair. Because some people have been attacked by enemies. But listen, for the most part, I'm just dealing with people one-on-one, right? And most of the people have been kind to me and fine with me. Now, that doesn't mean they've been fine with me behind my back. You know, I get that, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about how we behave ourselves, right? Because what you just said, Critias, you know, when we're giving them our opposition, I call them our opposition. We're giving the opposition ammunition to attack and say things either out of ignorance, but in some cases it turns out to be true.
Right.
And we have to learn to control it. And now I'm certainly not saying that we're all going to be perfect and everything's going to be super clean and glossy every time we get out there, but we need to be thinking that way all the time, especially if we're putting ourselves in a situation where we're involved and engaged in public debate.
Yep. I think, you know, like you said earlier, we got to be wise in our words and choose carefully what we're going to say. You know, we got to know when to draw the line. We just can't go on some information, just run with it all the way through. You know, we got to analyze what we heard and figure out if it's true and, you know, and discuss it. You know, don't even attack people, just discuss it and figure it out, you know, or approach the individual and have a private discussion. But to bring this out in public where everybody can see it, it's really disgusting.
It is. It is. And it's hard to clean up. When you make a mess that big, it's hard to come back and say, because people don't want to hear us when someone supposedly from our group, right, says something crazy, they representing us. Guys, when you say stuff on Twitter, when you say stuff on and you create these, you get, let me put it this way. When you become part of the problem, when you're not a solution anymore, you're part of the problem, when you're acting like the very thing that you're against, you're representing all of us if you say you're part of the group.
Right.
And listen, by all means, man, I'm not trying to say here that, like I said, I've misrepresented groups before too, and it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I mean, even right now, maybe I'm misrepresenting our group. I don't know. But I think it's important that we at least come out and say, look, we're not going to stand for that nonsense, man. I just can't. It's not that I don't love everybody. It's not that I don't love everybody involved, but I'm going to be more active in at least having a personal conversation with people. And then if I have to, I will have to shut you down from my chat and from my community.
Which is sad, because that shouldn't happen, you know?
Well, but that's the thing though. I mean, what is the alternative? And I know that sounds like the gatekeeping they accuse us of, but reality is, I like I said, I care about my people. If I have a house, and someone comes into the house and steals food, bread out of my children's mouth, in the name of my house, you're not going to stay in my house, because that's not why I invited you in, right? So we just need to, and it's important, man. It's important for our own mental health. It's important for our own physical health. It's important for our spiritual health that we learn to communicate and dialogue with each other.
Yep.
You know, Austin's asking me, is it okay to ask what you mean by our group? You know, I don't mind answering that question, but for the sake of this discussion, I think it's in general, man. I don't think it needs to even be a particular group. I don't care what group. Listen, if you are some of the professionals online who are angry at certain people, if you are a liberal but you hate conservatives, I don't care. I have had friends, good friends, be on opposite side of me, and we can still be friends.
Right. I guess the whole thing is, it's not really particularly, you know, we can't say, we don't want to point fingers at anybody. We don't want to say, you know, or say groups like that. We want to say the community in general. Right. We as a community should not be going around harassing others that we don't agree with, you know, no matter what opinion they hold.
No matter what. I don't care whether it's here on YouTube, if it's over on Twitter, if it's over on Instagram, if it's over on Facebook. Chill the hell out, people. Especially when it comes to this. This is just comic books. It's only comic books, y'all. But
I love this drawing.
Oh, thank you, Nasser. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thanks for jumping in, man. I appreciate you coming on board. And listen, I'm honest about this, guys. If you guys disagree with me, you are welcome to disagree with me. And this is my comment to anyone, even in a chat. You're welcome to disagree with me. Listen, I've had my first trolls and stuff like that on Twitter. I feel like I'm part of the gang now. But you know what? I didn't answer them. I'm not going to answer them because they don't deserve my answer. Right? This is how we stay away from trouble. This is how we stay out of trouble. We do it like listen, I grew up in the Bronx. Y'all. And Chris, you're from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, similar place, right? And I learned, if you want to stay out of trouble, you don't look for no trouble. Now, sometimes trouble finds you, and you got to do what you got to do. And I'm not talking about that. If, like I said, if someone directly comes after you and you feel like that's something you need to defend, then by all means, get to defend.
That's the thing. Like, even if you're the one looking for trouble, you got to answer to the consequences.
You're right.
You know.
You're right.
Because I was one of the ones that used to look for trouble, and I can tell you, I got jumped twice. I've been arrested. You know.
Yeah.
I've been running with the Latin Kings when I was in New York. You know. So when you look for trouble, it comes to you, and it doesn't come to you pretty. It comes to you hard. You know. There's nothing you can do when you find yourself in a situation you can't escape. You know.
But I think some people on social media, they get involved in the same activity as that kind of stuff because they think that it doesn't matter because we're just using words. And sometimes that's true. I think words shouldn't be that powerful in people's lives. However, come on, guys, you know, when you're saying something crazy and you know that people are passionate about something, you know that that's what's going on in their heads. You know, you're creating some kind of schism and some sort of beef in their heads, and they're going to respond.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that, you know, in today's culture, right? We got all these people on the internet. When they read these comments made by people, they go crazy, and then they want to go dox people, and they want somebody to get hurt, and they don't care. You know, they want to see people get killed. I mean, it's sad. I mean, look what happened in Orlando the other day, and you know, when they shot up those, you know, that guy went with a gun. He had it planned already. You know, because he couldn't handle losing or whatever was the case. You know. And we expose our words and people read it and they feel a certain way towards what we say. And sometimes it riles them up to want to do something about it.
So that's why I say something like this. If you have something to say it, but say it in a way, I don't know. I listen, I'm not interested. Like I said this earlier to somebody in another chat. I'm not interested in censorship. You are welcome. You are welcome to even confront me, you know, intellectually. I'm happy for that, because I'm not that smart. I don't know everything, but I do expect people to behave a certain way when we're around each other, and I expect them to. And this is just me being fed up. I'm fed up with this nonsense already. I'm fed up with it, man.
Yeah.
I'm not. My own people are getting all jacked up over this nonsense. It's a bunch of BS, man. It's not going to happen no more. It's not going to happen no more. You know, I mean, like I said, you know, and some people, I mean, I don't want to name any names, but somebody in this room in particular has been attacked, you know, by other people. And I get why they would want to respond. But even then, right? Even then, what needs to happen is we need to stand up, pick ourselves up, be better than the rest of them, be better than them, be better.
Right.
You know,
sorry. And excuse me. At the end of the day, right? You know, we
hold up. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Sure. You know, at the end of the day, right? Like we're on the internet. These people live sometimes halfway across the country, you know, or across the country. And sometimes we could avoid these words. We don't even need to engage in them. You know, if they say something that offends us, we can actually walk away. It's not like they're in front of us and in our face and telling us things, you know. We can actually ignore these words because at the end of the day, they're just that, words.
right.
You know, it's how you let them affect you that can bring consequences.
Well, and I missed this point the first time when I was trying to get to this point and agree with what you just said about some people are taking these words so seriously. This is why you got to figure out a way to communicate differently, people. They're taking these words so seriously and they're acting on these words, man. And that's crazy, man. We're living in crazy times. Now, again, listen, I am prepared. Listen to what I'm saying, everybody. Whoever's on this chat right now, whoever's listening right now, if you're part of this situation or not, whether you care, if you're religious or not, I'm prepared. I'm prepared in my soul, despite my behavior sometimes, I'm prepared to die for something like to die for or be persecuted for my belief in Jesus Christ. But we are not going to have that go on over some damn comic books.
Yeah.
This is not the same. This is not equal that.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
And so what happens is, you know, if that's where you're coming from, then don't come on board with me, man. Don't come on board with me. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm talking about in general, because it's become an epidemic.
Right. And that's the thing. You know, people in our community need to think, right? Is this all worth your livelihood? You know, like, is it worth you react on these words and let's say you get arrested? You know, is it worth being arrested for this? You know, I mean, yeah, we want to move it forward, but we also, a lot of us got families. You know, a lot of us got to think about our families and what we need to do with families. Like you said, you know, we would die for our faith. I would die for my faith, hands down. For the Lord, I would die hands down. You know, it's something I believe. You know, but if I'm trying to help a movement move forward and the movement's moving backwards, I'm not willing to die for that. It makes no sense.
No. And I think, and listen, there are things that are important. You know, there are political things that are important for people to engage in dialogue. I think this is what I'm trying to say. It's nothing wrong with talking to people, man. There's nothing wrong with talking to people. There's nothing wrong with the exchange of ideas and honest and even a passionate exchange of ideas, as long as we understand that listen, man, I'm not holding a gun to your head. You can think whatever you want to think. Put down, this is why I titled this, Put Down the Weapons. any weapon, whether they be physical weapons or verbal weapons. Put down the weapons. This can be just us talking. You know, Alika, this has been some overall. This is not a specific. There is a specific thing that triggered this for me, but I don't really care about bringing up the specifics because it's something that's overall. Every time I'm involved in any kind of, the only place I never had this trouble is on Instagram, and it's coming or there. I've seen a couple of things come up because over there it's mostly about images, but wherever there's any kind of intellectual conversation, it gets crazy. Because it's not even intellectual anymore. You guys aren't even talking about things. No one's even listening to each other.
Right.
So, you know, if you're not listening to each other and listen, and if you're spending all your energy on someone that's not listening to you, cut it out. Cut it off. Take that part and cut it off. You know, just eliminate that from your life. You don't need that in your life.
Yeah, and the thing is that this community, right? There's not a community that holds one set of views. You understand? We're a big community that we come from different walks of life, and we have experienced different things in our lives, and we have, you know, different opinions, and we got to respect each other. You can't respect anybody in this community with different opinions, then you shouldn't be a part of it. And I hate to say that, you know, because we all coming from different walks of life. I mean, everybody was like you, the world would be a better place, you know, but nobody's not like you, you know. Right. We all have our own personalities, and that's something we all got to deal with each other.
So I know some people may be wondering, and some people may even say, well, that's what's going to come with this group or whatever. Listen, y'all, it comes with any group. I'm sorry to tell you. It happens in my family. Sometimes my cousins get crazy. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you have anyone that's part of a different group, some people call it tribalism. I think that's a great term for it because, and it's obviously the accurate term for it, but I'm saying I love that term because it does describe what's happening. People are just becoming tribal. It's almost like what's happened in the Latino community. You know, some people, oh, those are the Cubans, they don't think this way. Oh, those are the Puerto Ricans, they don't think this way. All the, you know, the ones from Nicaragua or whatever. And we get like, it's not, you can't say it's racist because it's not about that. It's about their tribe. It's definitely not that. But then everyone is accusing the other tribe of the very thing that they're doing. So we have to be careful that we're not falling for the same trap. If it is indeed true, that this kind of activity is negative coming from, say, our opposition, whatever that may mean, then evaluate yourself and determine, are you the same as them? If what they're doing is wrong, you've got to be you have to be able to self-edit and say, am I doing the same thing? And make sure that you're in the right, which is difficult because who is really right?
Yeah. And I guess that's where the whole sitting down and discussing things with each other comes into play. You know, where we can discuss,
yeah,
you know,
but
what
they
is
never
right,
want to do that.
Say again?
I said they never want to do that. That's the annoying part.
Yeah, but see, Nasser, even that right there, even that, the way you said it, I get what you're saying. But let's eliminate that. Let's stop putting, you know, there's an old expression out of the Bible that says, before you pull out the speck in somebody else's eye, pull out the beam that's in yours. Pull out the giant freaking tree that's in mine. Because I got big trees in my eyes, guys. I don't know what to tell you guys. I have big problems sometimes, and I make mistakes, and I'm just like, we have to learn to listen to these people, because you're right. Now, so some people will do that, but I'm saying let's take it to the next level, man. We're talking about that. Listen to how we're talking about this type of thing in comic books. We're saying we're taking this next step away from what's typical, what's going on right now, the normal discussion, and we're going to elevate this to the next level, right? That's the reason why we're all doing this thing in Comicsgate, right? Why can't we also do that in the way we handle our affairs here in dialoguing with people and communicating? Let's take it to the next level. Let's not, if they are doing that, then let's be better. That's what I'm saying. Put down the weapons, put down the guns and ammo, put it all down. Am I going to get in trouble for saying that out loud? Yeah. Probably will, but you understand what I'm saying. Let's not be about that anymore. Let's be about a positive dialogue. And you know what, Nasser, you're right. There are some people who won't engage us in that. They're not going to talk to us that way. They're gonna resist, and that's okay. I can't control everybody. You know, I'm going to learn to put that stuff down, you know, and like I said, if you have a situation and you're being attacked personally and they're going after you, And you have every right to say, hey, that's not true. But be careful we don't fall into the same trap of just lobbing these bombs against each other over a wall and then acting like, oh, like some people I know that are like, oh man, I'm being attacked, I'm being persecuted, and then I listen to what they've been saying, and they're saying the exact same stuff that the other group is saying.
Right.
And then they try to act like, oh, that's not what I meant. Well, maybe they could say the same thing. They can say that's not what they meant.
Yep.
So all we're doing is just repeating the same BS, but expecting a different result. And I think that's not genuine. I don't think that's honest. And I'm calling for all of us. I'm not one person, not one group. I don't care about that. I want all of us. And that's what I'm about. If you are part of this community, or if you're part of my community, I can't speak for every community. Okay, guys. If you're down with me, this is how we're going to conduct ourselves. We're going to act right. And that's what I'm about. You can say, well, and I guess someone's going to try to attack me on that, I guess. But what can they do? Who are they going to fight? They're going to fight against what? Peace? They're going to fight with kindness? They're going to fight with genuine concern for them?
That's true. That's so true.
It takes two to argue. It takes two.
Here's the thing, like when I go on Twitter, sometimes, I say my piece to people. I give my 2 cents on some topics and some things being mentioned, But I've, what I've learned growing up in the streets and all that, I always learned sometimes you can't change people's opinions. You can't change the way they think. And you just gotta, once you throw your 2 cents, just walk away. Even if they keep saying something, just walk away.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah. That's how my mom taught me. That's how my dad taught me. They taught me right. And it was hard, man, because and in New York, here's the other part, because here's the part where we get caught up. That everyone's always encouraging each other to go to the darker version of themselves. They're like, oh, well, you gonna let them talk to you like that?
Right.
You're gonna let them bully you. You gonna let them talk? Let them talk. What can look how great look how these projects over on IndieGoGo have been succeeding despite the dialogue. No matter what they're saying, man. Yeah, if you want to, you could just use their words against them and say, you guys thought we would fail, and here we won. Period. Boom. Done.
Right.
However you want to say that. If you want to say, 6 digits, bitch, or whatever, I don't care. That's funny. But
I've been told, believe it or not, when I was younger and I was a kid in Elder Lane in junior high school, 9th grade, I ain't gonna lie, I was screwing up. But the teacher told me, when you grow up, you're gonna be a nobody. And those words stuck with me for so many years. Even to this day, I still remember those words. So then, me having my 2 degrees, I got my degrees late at a late age. I got them like I'm 35. And now I'm doing, now I'm doing a comic book. So, this is me showing people that told me I was gonna be a nobody, that I'm trying to be somebody. And that I am somebody.
Right. That's the best revenge.
Right. Exactly. So sometimes, you can't take these words to heart and let them destroy you. You take the words and you do something about it. And I mean in a positive sense, not in a negative way.
Well, I'm not letting it destroy me. I'm just a little pissed that
well, no, I wasn't talking about you, Nasser. I'm talking about the community in general.
I know, but I'm saying in my instance, like, I'm just a little pissed that I see like Tim Seeley, Ron Mars, Eric Larson, Kurt Busiek, Tony Moore, all of them patting John Lehman on the back for what he said to me.
Right.
These dudes are idiots, and by their own definition, they're racists. Then, if they're going to agree with John Lehman.
Right. But Nasser, something, you're doing a lot right now. You got a project that's already being mailed out to people. You got another work coming up.
Yeah, I'm bagging and boarding as we speak.
So you're doing something. Despite what they're saying, you're becoming successful. Excuse me. And that's what it's about. It's about showing them that what they can say, but you're making your own moves.
Yeah, I had a bunch of weirdos come after me like yesterday or the day before. They're all like, you're ruining your career before it begins. And then they're like, one dude's like, why don't you just try to get into comics 10 years from now and maybe we'll all forget what you've done. I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Well,
listen, I'm going to tell you, some people have kind of talked to me about some similar stuff. And you know what? I laugh because I'm like, you guys didn't let me have a career in this space anyway.
Right.
So whatever. But again, that's a clear observation, and to there's just like somebody said here, as a comic book Bob said, kill him with kindness. We can be there was a cartoon animation a long time ago from a movie called Fire and Ice, and I never forgot that movie. It was done by Ralph Bakshi, and it was based on Frank Frazetta's artwork. And there was a scene in the movie where the prince is trying to negotiate. The prince of the fire guys, who was the good guys, was trying to negotiate with the prince of the ice guys. And when he lands on the land of the ice people, he's like, "Look, pay no attention to these. We're from Fire Keep. We pay no heed to this sort of trash." And that's how I see this. I see it like, let's not pay attention to this sort of trash. I'm not saying that you're not going to fall into it. I'm not saying that it's not even worth it sometimes, Nasser. I'm not saying that at all. You have to decide that for yourself. I'm just saying to the people in general, when you use incendiary language, what I mean by that is when you call people out and you start to use personal attacks at people and you start to call people stuff, and then you get it, and if they're talking about that like that to you, then I understand why we would be upset, right? That's the situation with you in particular, Nasser. They've been attacking you personally. Okay, fair enough. But do we have to get down to their level to do that? And I'm not saying you have, but I know other people who have been attacked that have gone down to that level, and all they did was ruin their argument. Listen, I'm not that smart, guys. I'm not able to tangle with most people. So the best thing to do is just chill. Just chill, because they'll 9 times out of 10 they'll cancel themselves out. That happened to me when the person came onto my thing and they started to argue again. They've never even heard of me. Nobody's even heard of me except for some people on Instagram. These people on Twitter don't know who I am. So they're coming over and they're fighting with me just because I supported Bigfoot Bill. Okay, that's cool. See ya. You don't pay my bills. Peace.
Right.
You know? And guess what? They stopped because I didn't go back at them.
Right. And that's what it usually is.
Right.
Like this is me. In your case, this is just me. Like I said, I've being in your position. If I wasn't in your position, of course, I would let my success speak for itself. And you just become more successful. And when you got your name out there and people know who you are, they're gonna realize all the things they said to you, and you never know. They might one day approach you for work.
Yeah, this industry, like, it all cracks me up. They're all like, "You're ruining your career before it begins." Well, for 3 years, I tried to get a script read, and none of them would read it. And it's like they hand Eve Ewing a #1 out of nowhere. This industry is so wacky. Like, she doesn't even read comics. Like, I'm pretty sure she even said that in an interview somewhere. And it's just funny. They're like, "Oh, you're killing your career before it begins." Well, when was somebody going to give me a career? You guys always said, "This is such a tough industry. I don't have time to read your scripts." Now they're all concerned.
Right, because you're moving forward. This is something they don't agree with, they don't like. Because 1, your product comes gate, and 2, you're finding success. Something that they can't do on their own because they're afraid to take that step.
Yeah, I'm big on that, man. Let your success be your vindicator. When you go out there and you show them your product, and that's why I argue with people. I say, look, that's why if somebody asks me to review something, I'm gonna tell them the truth. And I'll talk about you, Nasser. No, but in general, we need to be honest with each other. Listen, it's important. It's super important that we're not just stroking each other's ego either, right? It's super important that we're gonna be so on point. We're gonna beat ourselves up so much that the world can't beat us up because we've already done it. If you want to use an argument, oh well, the head looks sloppy. Okay, yeah, we already addressed that. Oh well, your colors are, yeah, we already addressed that. Thanks. Okay, whatever. Godspeed. Peace out. Talk to you later. It's all good. That's what I'm saying when I talk about excellence. I always tell people who want to learn from me, how did you get here? Or this is perfect. I always say, don't say it's perfect. It's not perfect. There's nothing perfect that I do. Everything is always in flux, and as long as that's the case, I can always get better, right? So why am I bringing that up? Because I feel like sometimes because it's almost like when I was younger, there was a lot of these Christian comics, and some of those Christian comics were garbage. A lot of Christian music for a long time was garbage.
Yeah.
And I remember it was hard because I wanted to listen to that sort of stuff. I wanted to be encouraged with a different message, but I was too busy getting bombarded with mess. And so and the reason why was because people were like, "Oh no, it's Christian." So what if it's Christian? If it's garbage, it's garbage. I don't care. It better be great. I'm also a craftsman, so don't insult us.
Right.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. Even if we're part of Comicsgate, make the best product possible, and don't do it because we want to shut them down. We do it because we want to be excellent.
And what we
That
do.
excellence going to permeate. It's gonna expand. It's
Right.
gonna become infectious. To everyone's point, by the time we know it, people are gonna be like, "Yo, what's going on over there?" Right now, they're all saying, "Yo, what's going on over there?" Look at these morons.
Yeah. There's like a crowd of people in the corner. Everybody knows the fight's about to go down. Like, yo, what's going on over there, man? You know, everybody wants to go see. You know, but if you're doing something positive where you got a platform, people want to know, yo, what's that guy doing? Let's go find out. And they listen to you. You know?
Right.
A lot of times people see a fight, they walk away. They don't want to see it.
So that language can go both ways. It can mean positive or it could mean negative. And I think sometimes we allow ourselves to fall into the negative, and then we're surprised. Like I said, when people start talking about, oh, this happened to me and I was persecuted, but then I listen to their words, I'm like, well, why are you surprised at that? You asked for it. That's like going up to somebody, hey, you're fat, and then get punched in the mouth. Like, that's a bunch of BS, man. I have freedom of speech. Like, yeah, you got freedom of speech, but you just call that dude fat.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's gonna belt you in the mouth.
Yep.
You know, you're asking for it. You know, I'm just saying that's not doing yourself any justice. By the way, with all that energy, like I want to tell some people sometimes, especially in any group that I'm a part of, I've heard people say crazy stuff. Oh, I've been on Twitter all day fighting this thing. And then I'm like, well, what were you working on your project while you were on Twitter the whole day?
Right.
You know, I mean, at least here I'm trying to work on my commissions. I'm trying to know we're going to talk. Let's talk, but I got to work on some stuff too, fellas. Right. And you guys understand that. But if you're spending all your energies, because I've heard people criticize people from the other side, whatever that means, because they're too busy on Twitter. But if you're on Twitter all day to see them busy on Twitter all day, then maybe you're on Twitter all day and too busy and wasting your time.
Right.
So again, boom, boom, everybody's getting the same pop in the head.
I know that once you spend enough time around negative activity, a lot of time around it, it becomes you.
Yeah.
Because all you can focus on, you know, and you want to dish it back out. You know, and it ruins you inside, believe it or not. I mean, you don't see it now, but in the future, you see that it does ruin you.
Yeah,
you know?
I think, listen, I'm about, Nasser, you have the potential to be fantastic. Don't let these people rob you of that by, and I'm not saying that you are doing anything wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying be careful, because that in the end, that's where they win, when they stop you
Right.
from doing your thing.
And what's that old adage?
Well,
misery loves company.
Well, the thing, huh?
No, I'm saying the old adage, misery loves company.
That's right.
Oh, well, it doesn't bother me what Layman was saying. What bothers me is we have at least three people that I really looked up to, and Eric Larson and Tony Moore and Tim Seeley. Three people that I've always loved their art, and like especially Tony Moore and Tim Seeley, especially those two. I've always loved their books. And I see them giving John Layman pee-pee touches, all like patting him on the back.
Okay. You see, see what you just did there? You're doing the same thing. Why'd you got to go to that? No,
because that's what they're doing. Because they are. They're never gonna tell him like, why are you saying this? That's so nasty. They're all like patting him on the back, saying good job.
Right. Well,
and it's coming from people I respected, like Tim Seeley. He was the first pro I ever met in person, and at all three C2E2s I've been to, he's my first stop every time. I always go and get something signed by him first. He's the first person I ever see. I really looked up to this dude. And Tony Moore, I mean, Walking Dead was the book that got me into horror, and he was the first artist on the book, and I like him more than the guy that took over. And I mean, Image is my favorite company, so to see Eric Larson too, one of the guys that made me want to write comics, to see him be like, "Oh yeah, John Layman, we're behind you 100% in what you say." That's what pisses me off. It's not what John Layman said. It's just that I got a bunch of guys I look up to that are patting him on the back, saying, "Good job, we got your back."
I wonder if for me, it's I understand what you're saying. For me, I think the difference between you and I is I've just been on the planet a lot longer than you have, and I'm used to people disappointing me because I've also been the disappointer, right? And I've learned, and it's because of a variety of things. Like I never, like when I heard people talking about the riff with I'm not gonna name any names, but particular artists, whether it's those guys or I just don't want to be. I don't mean to be wishy-washy. I'm just saying I don't want to put the focus on that discussion because that's not the point today. But what I'm saying is that I already assume that they don't like me because of my faith. I just think it's funny because all of a sudden everyone's getting antagonistic over comments. That's what I mean. It's like, man, there's so much bigger fish to fry. There are people dying in around the world for their faith because they're not aligned with somebody else, and we're over here mad because of certain things like these knuckleheads. Let's put the guns down, put the weapons down. That's not helpful. And I'm telling you now, sir, you're going to be disappointed again. I might disappoint you. I know I have because I don't return your messages. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's going to be the case, man. That's going to happen. And so the real question is, what are you going to do about it? You know, and what we're suggesting, and we're not disagreeing. I think you're doing it. You know, I'm going to help you be at peace with it because it's going to continue to happen. You know, Eric Larson has always been that way because I know about him. I know about his personality just before Twitter, on all the magazines about him and the articles I've read about these guys. So I'm not surprised. So just stop. Don't let yourself be surprised anymore, because just assume that they're not going to meet your expectations, and then it's easier to deal with them. That's how I deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I've met some people that I'm like in love with their artwork, in love, and you know, sometimes they've had bad days. You know, the problem with Twitter is that they have their bad day for months.
Right.
They keep fighting that same argument, like it's incessant. So I get the frustration aspect of it, but it goes back to the same thing. Are we going to let them win by consuming our thoughts? You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I just assume up front that these people aren't going to like me. That happened to me. I've told the story before, I think, on other channels, but I was at a convention, one of my first New York Comic Cons. I was sitting by somebody who I respected greatly, and they literally turned me down. Like they literally looked down their noses at me, literally like a cartoon. Like, I'm like, really? For what? Because and not because of comics, not because of art, not because of politics, but because somebody came up to me and said, "Hey man, I appreciate you sharing your faith online." And you know, and I wasn't afraid to engage them on that. And guess what? Here I am. So, you know, they didn't hurt me, and now am I hurt? Did they do that to me personally? They don't even know me. They don't have any clue who I am. I'm the jerk monger. You know, I'm gonna be all right. But when it comes to affecting my livelihood, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if they come after me, I've heard Ethan say that if you come after me and you're affecting my customers, you're affecting my family, that's when we're gonna have to have some words. Maybe that's when you'll look at me a little differently, people. But until then, I'm gonna do all that I can to live at peace with everyone, as long as it is possible, like the Bible says. As long as it's possible, I'm gonna live at peace. I'm not saying I'm gonna like what they're saying. I'm not saying I'm gonna agree with them. I'm not saying that we're gonna be buddies. You know, even in the story of the Good Samaritan, the Samaritan was still his enemy. But the point of that story is not that he became his buddy. The point of that story was that the Jewish man and the Samaritan helped him despite their differences.
Right.
And that's why I feel like we can be better at this. Is that let's live above the fray, man, because that's what they're trying to do, is drag you down with them, drag you down. So, you know, and if anybody has been, you know, this is a real talk situation here, guys. If anybody has been offended by something I've said, I can't solve everybody's problem. That's not going to happen. But
Right.
as long as, but if I've said something incendiary, or I've said something personal, and I've attacked you really, now, you know, if you're going to argue with me about some nonsense from, you know, from whatever, I can't help you with that. But if I've really hurt you, I know in the past I've said some terrible things to people. I mean terrible. I mean, ugly things that I've exposed my genuine heart. and it wasn't a pretty thing. And I'm sorry to all those people. I apologize for the foolish things I've done to actively seek to hurt you. But this is not hurting. We're just talking about business practices, people. We're talking about creating stuff that's fun. This is if you're offended because I drew the Flash, then you can leave now. We're good. We're good. We'll be all right. And if you don't like my story, there's nothing that says that we can't produce our own thing. And let's let the market decide. Let's let the market decide. If my book, if I do a campaign and it fails, guess what? It's because no one was interested in it, and it's going to be okay. Then my job is to say, okay, what is the next campaign? What's the next thing I can come up with that will possibly appeal? If this is my business, and it is, and I'm not going to let these people distract me from making a livelihood for my family. I refuse. I refuse. Damn that. In the most sincerest sense of the word, may it be damned.
Yep. The sad thing is that a lot of people won't even, not a lot of people, but very few people would not want even want to listen to sound advice. That's the sad part.
Yeah. But has that changed, Critias? How long have you been a Christian? You've been a Christian for a while, right?
I would say I'm a Christian, but like I said, I had my bad years consecutively.
Fair enough. But I'm saying, how long have you been conscious about your faith?
Maybe since I was like 13, 12, somewhere around there.
So in all those years, has it always been a perfect scenario? Have you not had conflicts and confrontations with people?
Oh yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna happen. That's what I'm trying to say. It's gonna happen. It's bound to happen. When people don't agree, we're talking about conversations about life and death, and people don't like that kind of conversation. That's just in the faith. You know what I'm saying? And if we can somehow find a way to be gentle towards each other and be kind towards each other and be more about the things that we have in common, then we can certainly do that here.
Right.
And now some people are gonna be like, "Yeah, you crazy." I know, I get it. I know some of you are more, or as some people would say, warriors in your nature, and you want to go out there and punch the tar out of people. And listen, right. I'm not here to stop you. Whatever you got to do, you got to do.
But the thing is that even warriors are known to have gentle spirits. What makes them warriors when they choose to stand up for the right cause.
Right. Just be careful that the cause you're fighting isn't the wrong one.
Right. Well, yeah, like if you think about it, like for example, right? I'm just using an example, right? We got heroes in our community, right? Let's just call them heroes. People that fight for the cause, right?
Sure.
And on the other side, they got people that fight for their cause, and they're considered heroes too.
Right. Now we can't all be right.
Right.
So that's a legitimate argument there. I know Doug would appreciate that argument. We can't all be right. There can only be one right answer. Sometimes we could all be wrong because we're all confused about the truth in the first place. That's also a possibility. But in general, we can say, listen, man, like we can agree to disagree and we can move forward. And I think that's what we really need, is to live and let live and be kind towards one another, and then seek those opportunities to educate people, seek the opportunity to educate and bring a sense of peace. That's what I'm about. And if we can't be about that, then we're never going to have a conversation. We're never going to be
right. When I was young, I was a hot-headed guy, like what Elliot, what Ortiz is saying in the chat. I was hot-headed when I was young. All I wanted to do was just run around and be a loose cannon and just do what I felt like I needed to do. But as I got older and I started having my kids and I got married, I started realizing, like, if this is the life I want to live, do I really want to live my life like this every single day? And so I learned to adapt a personality where I can just I can chill out, I can relax, I can ignore things because I know I got something better when I get home.
Right. It's what solves the problem in most cases for most people. We can just put down the weapons and think. You know, I love, there was a preacher I used to listen to. He used to use that term, just like Moses said, let my people go. He said, let my people think. Let's think, be thinkers.
Right.
We can solve this with our heads here, guys.
That's why I love Proverbs.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wisdom, man. Wisdom.
Yep.
The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and,
on the right way.
you
Is
know,
it oh, what's that scripture? Proverbs, lean not into thy own understanding, right?
Yep.
In every way he shall direct your path. Is that the way it goes?
lean not unto understanding. There's a couple of verses that are very similar that way. I always get them confused. Seek first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness and all. How's it go? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness. Help me out there, Craig. I messed that one up.
I'm trying to figure out this verse and I just lost myself. Oh, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you your path to take.
There you go.
It's the NLT version.
Delight yourself in the Lord. What does it say after that? And he will give you the desires of your heart.
Right. Muttman got the way I remember it.
He shall direct your paths. Yeah. Anyway, man, I'm grateful to everyone. I think, this is the difference, man. This makes the difference. This is the way we engage. This is the way we engage people, and we find ways to reason. Sometimes we cannot reason, and that's when I will disengage, because there's nothing to have a conversation about. If we can't have a reasonable conversation, if we can't sit here and just be kind to each other, then we're not having conversations, and we're gonna have to take this offline until we all chill out, until we cool off. That's what I'm saying. In the end, is that some of us are gonna have to just chill out and cool off, because this has gotten crazy.
Right. And if you guys have an issue, right, I'm talking about the community in general, if there's an issue between you and another member, try to discuss it. Try to find a common ground and build from there. There's no point of going at each other. We're supposed to be looking out for each other like a brotherhood or like a family. It makes no sense that we got to go target each other because we don't agree with a certain opinion. And that's just me, of course.
No, I'm with you. Nasser, you think I'm crazy?
Nah.
Nah. Like I said, if there's there's always room for us to get better. And I'm still learning stuff. I'm 45 years old. I'm learning.
Right.
I'm there's things in our life that we need to nurture and take care of. And then there's some things that are just not that important. And we need to learn and to make the distinction between those things, because there are, like you said earlier, Chris, there's a lot of people out there, man, that are taking action on foolishness.
Right.
They're literally taking up arms, literally taking up weapons to hurt people because they don't agree. They're literally balling up fists to fight. Yeah,
and that's a scary thing, because all that individual or multiple individuals it could also be a group of people doing that. Yeah. All they're doing is getting ready to take somebody's life. Somebody who probably got a family or got a mother he's got to take care of that's in the hospital or something. Our actions, consequence not only our lives but the lives of people involved. With that individual that we hurt. Like if I took the if I went ahead and I had a disagreement with somebody, right, and I wanted to like make a point or make an example out of them, and I go hurt them, right? Like for example, me and my friend, right? My friend, some guy was pissing in front of his daughter, right? So he came outside and he told the guy, "Hey, what are you doing? My daughter's standing right there, and you're taking a piss in front of her." The guy told my friend, "Well, who the hell you think you are? You think you run the neighborhood?" So my friend went inside and grabbed the bat and cracked the guy over the head. He did it out of pure anger at that moment. Okay, baby, hold on. He did it out of pure anger. You know what I mean? And you know what he did? He put the guy in a coma, and they got him arrested for attempted murder. So sometimes, right now he can't be around his daughter because he's locked up, and the guy that he hurt, he can't be around his family because he's in a coma, so that's why we got to make sure the choices we make are the right ones.
Yeah. And like you said, it's going to affect people, and it's going to, and man, it's just, this is how tragedies occur, man. this is not how we want to go out over some BS like this.
Right. Exactly.
I care too much about you guys, man. About all you guys. Listen, I don't know any of you guys personally. I mean, I know some of you personally. Trust Nun's on there. I see him. I know him. You know, and there's love, man. It's all love. But I'm afraid. I'm afraid that just because I don't know you doesn't mean I don't care about you. I don't care about what happens to you. And for that matter, you know, I'm going to say this. Nasser, you may not appreciate this, but I wish all those people success. I wish all those people.
I do too. I don't want them to fail.
I wish Eric Larson's success, more success, because I like Eric Larson's work. I can separate.
I do too.
The artist, you know, the art from the artist. But I'm not saying that you don't. I'm just saying you might not. I just wasn't sure. Relax, Nasser. I certainly hope that you're successful.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you already started taking the first step of, you know, going towards finding success.
Yeah, but I also say that I got to make sure that I have to make sure that I am successful, and so I'm going to take actions for my work. I'm going to make sure that my stuff is tight. I'm going to make sure that my message is tight, because I remember there was a thing I learned in corporate America. There was a great term we used to use all the time. It was, I don't want to give someone a reason not to buy my product. And the best way to do that is to be genuine about who you are and to encourage free market. I think that's the best thing for me to do, is to let you decide, let the customers write. And I'm going to give my customers whatever I can to make them happy with my product. Now, I can't please everybody personally, and that's the difference. I can't help you if you don't like me personally. You're going to have to go take that somewhere else. But as it relates to my product, I'm going to do my best to give you guys something that you will enjoy and that you'll come back and buy again, because I care about your business. I care about you as a person. But as far as it relates to my business, I care about those dollars. I want to make sure that I'm securing a future for my success. And so, you know, we can do that. We can do that by encouraging each other and supporting each other. That's one way to do it. If you want to make it a personal thing, support each other. Encourage each other. You know, when we're on line with each other, if you really like my stuff that much, and if I'm helping you out in your show, you know, put my information in your description, that kind of thing, right? That's how we do it. That's why I do it with you guys, you know. So that's why when I'm done here, I make sure I put you guys' projects on there, because I want you guys to be successful.
Thanks.
Right.
You know, that's how it has to be.
Right. I mean, you know, wishing ill will towards somebody doesn't make us better people. You know, wishing success to our enemies make us better people. Yeah.
You know, be successful so you don't have to stay in my house. Get out of my neighborhood. You know, when you're done here, peace out. Break out. Here, get yourself a car. Beat it.
Right. Yeah, we gotta help out each other, man.
What's going on in this chat? Anybody paying attention to the chat?
Yeah, everybody's listening in. They're all discussing what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And some more.
I meant for this to be a short thing. Because I don't think that necessarily that we're always the people that engage in this sort of thing always know what they're doing or even realize how toxic it can be. And so it's not important. But I notice it all the time, all over social media. And I think, you know, we've got to find things. Listen, if you need to vent and you need to find something to do, go participate in a charity or something. You know, help out in different ways, man. Let yourself be free from these social prisons. That's all this is. It's a social prison. And we're falling for the trap that they want us to fall. They want us to fail. They want us to blemish our reputation. They want that. They want us to look like fools. And we can't allow that to happen. Listen, I am a fool. But I don't need to make it worse. You know? So anyway.
Yeah, for real. Sorry about this. My daughter keeps screaming over, so I gotta mute the mic.
No, that's all good. Nasser, what do you say? What do you say about this? What punch me? Come on, bring it. Nothing.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, Nasser, you're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Thanks.
It was like Golden Age Flash, right?
Yeah, this is a second part of a commission. The original one I did was here. They asked me to reproduce it. So
Oh, that looks nice.
that's
Jeez.
the first one finished. Actually, I need to add color to both of them. A little bit of red. And let me go black and red out of it. And then from there. But yeah, man, I care about this community. I care about Comicsgate. I care about our mutual success. I also care about winning. I want to be successful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, and so I want to tackle these kinds of things at the inception of them. If we need to be sure to address what needs to be addressed, you know, with kindness, with meekness. And by the way, I'm not being funny bird about it. There's a lot bigger fish to fry than just this one situation that triggered my thoughts, but it's just one more in a long string of crazy stuff. And so we need to abstain from this sort of activity so that we can all be heard and learn how to dialogue. That's so important, man. I spend a lot of energy training in how to do counseling, and one of the biggest things I always hear from people is that I listen. I'm a good listener. You'd be surprised what you will win from people, the attention you'll gain just because you're willing to listen. And then you can comment with the right context, you know. And I'm telling you, there's a better way, y'all. There's a better way.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because right now, because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm actually enrolled in school to study to become a pastor. You know, yeah. And the thing is, I'm not a good standing Christian. That's the funny part. But what you're saying about listening is true. You know, people don't, you know, sometimes people prefer that you listen to them than to give them an advice because they just want to express what's bothering them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I learned that the hard way.
Well, that's what's going on. I think when all these people on Twitter, that's why that's why they do what they do, because they want to be heard. So literally the best tool you have is to shut them out. If you need to find a way to disrupt their message, don't be the receiver. They'll get even angrier. But eventually they'll burn out and they'll get tired of being angry, and then they'll shut up, and okay, are we ready to talk now? I'm good now. Oh no, okay, keep going. Rope-a-dope. Yep. Keep tiring yourself out. Yep. It's gonna be okay. All right, you done? Ready? No? Okay, keep going.
Yep.
That's how I do with my kids. You know, they start. All right, okay, you done? No? Okay. Let me know when you're done. They hate it.
Yeah. Yep.
But what are they gonna say? Yeah, okay, Dad. All right. Now shut up.
Yeah, kids is not easy, man. I'm in trouble with my daughter right now. You know, as they get older, they want to do their own thing. I had to tell the other day, like, you think you're an adult? You think you know? I can tell you what. When you hit 16, I want you to get a job and start paying bills. So you think you're old enough to do things your own way. She didn't like the answer. You know?
Yeah, you're never gonna like the answer, but you know, it's just another tool. I have a good friend who's like that. He's really great with his kids, and he's a master of that. And they always end up doing what he says to do, because he knows how to just reach them where they are and basically affect their hearts. It cracks me. I'm like, oh, sometimes I get too mad. I'll lose my cool. I do, man. I lose my cool quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. I lose my cool. Being a parent is rough.
No, it is. It takes a lot of patience, like extreme patience. It's not easy, especially when you got 4 kids. Forget about it.
That's what I get. I'm always bugged out by people like that don't have kids. Like, oh, you know, if I was the parent, like I remember I used to say that stuff when I didn't have kids. Well, if it was me, man, I threw all that out the window. All of that. Like, nah. I was an idiot. I didn't know anything about this stuff. I'm still an idiot, you know. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you joining me today on Morning Muse. It's just an opportunity to kind of address some stuff and let my heart be heard. If you don't like what I said, I understand, because it's not for everybody. If you appreciate what I said, then hopefully it will help you get to another level. And remember, we don't have to make this an ugly thing. We can find other ways to engage each other. And if you're really interested in education, in other words, if you're really interested in opening someone's mind to your position, then there are ways to do that. And we need to get better at this. But be careful that you don't use that as an excuse and then turn around and work against yourself, because be honest about it. Be honest. Are you really here to fix things, or you just want to watch the world burn? So, Godspeed, you people. Guys, hang out for a second after I stop. But you guys in the chat, I love you guys. Thanks so much for chilling with me. Sorry I wasn't really addressing the chat as much. Morning Muses are more about me just sounding off, and you can, if you don't like it, come back. All right, guys, be good. See you
later, everyone.